What's going on, agents? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and I'm back with another Weapon Vendor Reset Top Picks video. I will not be covering all gear items at every vendor, but instead focusing on which vendors have the best weapons for sale this week. Weaponry stats and damage rolls really are my specialty, and I know many of you turn to my reviews to make informed decisions as to which weapon to equip. For this week's episode, I found 7 weapons that are worth taking a look at. First up is a military L86 Lsw for sale at the special equipment vendor downstairs in the terminal hub. It features the determined, deadly, and unforgiving talents along with an extra damage to targets out of cover percentage of 14%. LMGs can roll anywhere between 11% on the low side up to 15% on the high side, so at 14%, this L86 comes in at the 75th percentile for extra damage to targets out of cover. Base damage for the L86 can range from 8,522 up to 10,004, and at 9,570, this weapon comes in at the 71st percentile for base damage among L86s. L86s provide assault rifle handling characteristics, and in Update 1.6, the L86 will be receiving both a base damage increase and increased damage to distance drop-offs. Next up, at the last call safe house, is an MG5 that features the adept, accurate, and unforgiving talents, along with a 13% damage to targets out of cover percentage, which is in the 50th percentile. Base damage for the MG5 can range from 7,500 up to 8,804, and this particular MG5 comes in at 8,590, which puts it in the 84th percentile among MG5s. With a base starting magazine of 50 rounds and the fastest rate of fire of all of the LMGs, the MG5 excels at burst damage and overall stability is quite good. It is the combination of the unforgiving talent and higher than average base damage to get this MG5 on the list for this week. For those of you agents that want an AK, at the East 42nd Street DZ entrance is a military AK-47M that features the predatory, unforgiving, and sustained talents along with 22% enemy armor damage, which places it 2 percentage points away from perfect. Base damage rolls for the AK range from 10,909 to 12,805, and this particular offering falls in at 12,358, which is in the 76th percentile for damage among AKs. AKs are the hardest hitting full auto assault rifles in the game for base damage and are ideal for the cover-to-cover medium range player tackling max level PvE missions and incursions. It is the combination of higher than average enemy armor damage percentages, decent base damage figures, and the unforgiving talent that get this AK on the list for this week. At the East 31st Street DZ vendor is a military P416 assault rifle that features the meticulous, focused, and deadly talents, along with a high 23% enemy armor damage percentage. Assault rifles can range from 17.5% on the low side up to a maximum of 24%, so at 23%, this P416 is just 1 percentage point away from being perfect. Base damage for the P416 can range from 8,863 up to 10,404, and this particular version comes in at 10,297, which places it in the 93rd percentile for base damage among P416s. Strengths of the P416 are its moderate fire rate and overall handling characteristics, and this particular offering is nearly maxed out in both enemy armor damage and base damage percentages. Downstairs in the terminal hub at the special equipment vendor is an enhanced G36 Assault Rifle that features the predatory, brutal, and focus talents along with an enemy armor damage percentage of 19%. The lowest an assault rifle can reach in enemy armor damage is 17.5%, and even though this particular G36 is a bit below average, it makes up for it in its damage roll. G36s can range from 9,068 on the low side up to a maximum of 10,645, and this G36 comes in at 10,533, which places it in the 93rd percentile among G36s for base damage rolls. G36s are just slightly behind the M4s right now in 1.5, but with a slightly slower fire rate are much easier to keep on target and display much less vertical recoil. For a player looking for a decent AR to tackle PvE work, this enhanced G36 makes this week's list through its combination of predatory, brutal, and the exceptional base damage rolls. This week's toss-up pick is a military SCAR H DMR for sale at the West 42nd Street DZ vendor that comes with the accurate, disciplined, and ferocious talents. The talents for the SCAR H are more tailored for PvE work, and the headshot damage multiplier of 171% is just 1 percentage point away from a perfect roll. Base damage rolls for the SCAR H range from 29,317 up to a perfect roll of 34,415, with this variant coming in at just 32,242, which places it in the 57th percentile for damage rolls among SCAR H's. What makes this weapon the toss-up for this week is that it has potential for PvE work through the talents like Ferocious and Accurate for quick precision follow-up shots coupled with a God roll headshot damage multiplier. However, it has an average damage roll, and with update 1.6, the difference between body and headshot damages will be nerfed, therefore making headshot damage multipliers less important. You will need to be the judge on this purchase. And finally, my got-to-have-it pick for this week is a God Roll Pecan for purchase at the Base of Operations Advanced Weaponry vendor. LMG's special talent of additional damage to targets out of cover can range from 11 to 15%, and this Pecan comes in at 14%. Base damage rolls for the Pecan can range from 9,204 up to 10,805, with this particular Pecan coming in at 10,724, which places it in the 95th percentile for damage rolls among Pecans. Coming with the Swift, Destructive, and Ferocious talents along with God rolls for damage to targets out of cover and base damage rolls, easily get this Pecan on the list as my got-to-have-it pick for this week's weekly weaponry vendor reset. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on my weapon vendor top picks for this week. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. In addition, if you could take the time to rate the video with either a thumbs up or down, it would be greatly appreciated. If you want some more LtBuzzLitebeer and my Division content in your life, feel free to sub my channel and follow me on Twitter at LtBuzzLitebeer. If you have questions about any weapon in the Division, look no further than my comprehensive weapon review playlist to answer any and all of your questions. And remember, from my channel, likes, comments, subs are loved. Until my next Division video, this has been LtBuzzLitebeer saying peace out.